Just been to the local bakery to get some lunch. I'll show you later on what I've got.
Di aprirli dopo te. Ciao Eleonora, lei al cancello.
Vabbè, dopo glielo dici. Guarda, guarda qua, la torta di Roma.
Oh my god, a zebra crossing in Italy, the cars have stopped for us. Check that out. Now when you go, normally we have lunch in the house and we cook for lunch. The kids come home from school. But every now and again we go to the local bakery, we try and buy some, we buy some sandwiches and tramezzini. Typical Italian stuff. I made a video that'll show you what we've bought. It's dangerous though when we go because you end up spending a lot more than you planned because of the way they put all the stuff out. All the nice bread and sandwiches. Oh, really, really yummy and nice. I digress. I'll go back to a car journey we made a couple of years ago when COVID was on, when you couldn't fly. We drove to Spain to see my sister and we stopped in France. And with the kids, we went to a local bakery and we ordered the few sandwiches they had, and the kids thought, oh, it was disgusting. Just different flavours. No one beats Italy for flavours. And especially my kids who grew up here, it was the first time they tasted anything that was French. I've nothing against the French, yeah. It was the first time they tasted any sandwiches or from a bakery that wasn't Italian, and they weren't very impressed. Our local bakery, which is in the city centre. Now I see a lot of videos recently about the demise of British city centres, which I think is true. You know, in the 90s, the city centres in the UK were just filled with shops and people went and bought stuff. It was more economy driven. It was people went and purchased stuff, and that's dead because no one buys stuff in the shops anymore. People say it's the retail parks, but it's online shopping. So the sum of retail parks and online shopping has killed the British city centre. Now I wanted to make a little comparison to the Italian city centre, because even although it's changed just as much probably as the city centres in the UK, the demise has not been so big, but that's due to the fact that 20 years ago or in the 90s in Italy, the shopping or the city centre wasn't solely a shopping spree. It was a place where people came to walk, to have a chat, to have a coffee, to have an ice cream. And so that's still there. Whereas I think in the UK it was just solely economic, that's what I was going back to. In Italy it wasn't so, I mean there were shops obviously where people went and bought stuff. But the majority of people didn't go to buy stuff, they went to have a walk around, because there's a lot of historic buildings and things to see, nice things to see in almost all Italian city centres. So that still exists. It's true that the shops have died. There's hardly any shops. And there's a lot of discussion as well about what they should do, because obviously people, the price of the rents of the shops still follow the law of economic supply and demand. So the owners don't have any need, they don't really need to rent them, so they keep the prices high and no one comes. So that still exists, but less so than in the UK. Another aspect that Italians complain about a lot, which I think has definitely changed. Like I said, I've lived here for 20 years. I've not lived in this city for 20 years. I've lived here for more than 10 years. I lived in a town about half an hour away for another 10 years. So all in all, 20 years here. The Italians complain a lot about safety in the city centres, which I think it's getting worse. It's getting more dangerous. Now I've got 2 daughters, and it's something that is close to my heart, because I think about it. My daughter, my eldest, is 15 going on 16. She goes out at night. I know you probably say, well, she's young to go out at night, but in Italy, that is the age where kids go out. And it happens it happens often that on a Friday, Saturday night, there's a there's aggressions or there's assaults on people or there's fights. It's mostly fights between boys. But there has been instances of women being approached, being asked for cigarettes, and you know, it's worrying sometimes. Being a father, I think about it. Now, obviously, we take our daughter into this wherever she goes out to the city centre, and we go and pick her up. But even she tells us now that it can be scary sometimes. There's people who approach. Well, she's always with a group of friends, but people who approach maybe, I don't know, drunk people or people who are on drugs. And they say unpleasant things. I'm not going to say on camera what they say to her, but they say unpleasant things. And there's starting to be areas of the city centre where I live in where it's probably better not to go after midnight or after 10 or 11 o'clock at night, which that never used to happen. There never used to be that. It always used to be fairly safe. The whole of north of Italy used to be it used to be safe. There was no problems. Now, a lot of people blame immigration. A lot of people blame the rise of drugs and the misuse of alcohol. My personal opinion is that I think it's a mix of a lot of things. There's not just one factor that is the cause of why there's an increase in violence. It's also true that we now, with the social media age, we know about anything that's happened within hours. So you wake up on a Sunday morning and you know exactly what happened the night before. If someone got punched, if someone got stabbed. Luckily, stabbing is not very common here, but it's becoming more common. So you find out straight away, whereas 20, 30 years ago, maybe you never heard about it because all you knew was what you read in the paper on a Monday. And a lot of the information was filtered. So that's my personal opinion. I am worried though, for my daughter. I'm not worried for myself. I still think it's safe. Like I say, I grew up in the northwest of England. And when we went out at night, there was always fights. That's just part and parcel of, I think, British culture. But it's not the Italian culture. The Italian culture is changing. It's because all cultures are changing. Change, the only constant in life is change. So everything's changing. But I worry for my daughter. So there's areas of the city centre where it's better not to go. Now, having said that, in summer everything changes in Italy. In the summer, more families go out. And it's more a place where there's loads of people. What I was talking about before, the instances that I'm talking about happen only in the winter. Well, they don't happen only in winter, but prevalently in winter time, where at 11 o'clock it's cold and there's no one around. Whereas in summer at 11 o'clock, they have in the city I live in, they have a thing called Giovedì d'estate, which means Thursday summer times. And basically all the shops and all the bars are open until 2 or 3 in the morning. So there's loads of families just out until 2 or 3 in the morning. So obviously in that period, there's less violence. But yeah, that's my take. I don't know, what do you think? Is it an immigration problem? Is it the rise in drug use or alcohol abuse? Drug use has always been here. I mean, in the town I live, in the 80s, they had a big problem with heroin. The effects of heroin are different to the effects of cocaine and alcohol. So is it that? Immigration. I mean, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there was hardly any non-Italians living here. Now there's a lot of ethnic groups living here. Is that an issue? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. One thing's for sure, city centres are changing. For the worse or for the best? I don't know, it depends here in Italy if it's summer or winter. Have you ever been to Italy? Listen, if you want to know more about what it's like living in northern Italy, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting loads of good content, especially now the summer months are coming in. Tomorrow's the 1st of March. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now. This is what we bought. 2 bits of pizza. These are the tramezzini. A little bit of focaccia and all that bread.